Hey everybody, Eddie J on crypto here, and Stitch too. So just want to kind of dive in. Got a lot of news to discuss. So one of the things that I came across this morning that's got my head churning is there was a report by the Financial Times that it's possible that Coinbase's listing practices might need some looking into. They gave an example about how Coinbase had an interest in a particular coin that they were going to list. Obviously, others had interest in that coin. Coin got listed. Obviously, the price shot up, big pump. And then the original holders, not the original holders, but holders that were previous to that listing were able to cash out. And then that coin dropped to over 65% of its all-time high. So as you can imagine, that could possibly have, you know, some effects. So I'm waiting to see how that pans out as we go forward. But that's something that I'm going to be, on the lookout for. Like I've put a little pin in that one so I can keep a lookout on, is there more, to that story than there is right now? Obviously, everybody knows the job numbers came out and they were, wow, just to use a phrase, they were to the moon. But I always have a question about the jobs numbers, the jobs reports that come out because I'm paying attention not just to the jobs number, but also any corrections to previous reports that came out. And this one not only had spectacular numbers for the previous month, but it also had spectacular changes to previous. So I'm wondering, like, how do we get that wrong, or just why is there such a broad swing, a broad miss on the numbers? But either way, I think that's going to usher in the Fed, increasing rates over the next year. Do I know how many times they're going to increase rates? I have no idea. I'm not even going to speculate. I have no idea. But I just do have confidence that they will raise rates. I think that they probably will become a bit more hawkish, realizing that the economy is a little bit stronger than what people think, um, and they'll hit those rates, and that'll be that. I just think that money's been free for a long time, or on the cheapy cheapy for a long time, and now money won't be, and it's going to hopefully fight inflation. We'll see how that goes, and we'll see how that pans out. Um, we also noticed that tech stocks took a hit yesterday. Some tech stocks took a hit yesterday. Meta, the owners of Facebook, they actually own Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. They took a major hit yesterday and cited, TikTok, great. But what I did notice in, certain tech stocks taking a hit was that there was a bit of a separation between tech stocks and cryptocurrency, right? And I expect that to actually continue as people become more and more savvy that, tech stocks are not necessarily, don't have any real correlation to cryptocurrency. So that continued decoupling of the two, I think, is going to happen, and then you'll see, what we're seeing right now, which is cryptocurrencies going up. Um, Something else is Tezos and Manchester United sports team, football. Um, they've entered into a $27 million sponsorship deal, which says that cryptos are getting further into the sporting arena, which kind of makes sense, right? Um, but what I like about that is that mainstream is beginning to look at the money that they can get from crypto and kind of go, hey, these are real companies. This can happen, and they're making it happen. So I find that to be interesting. I find that we're probably going to see a ton of cryptocurrency ads during the Super Bowl. And I think with those ads, you're going to see pops that start to happen with those particular companies or cryptos that are doing the commercials. So pay attention to that next week. I think that's going to be a really big deal. Um, just something that's going to lend itself to being beyond the price point where we are. Could it help Bitcoin, let's say, surpass 42,000? I think that's a possibility. I really do think that's a possibility. Um, but I don't know. I do know I like where I'm at right now with my portfolio, with everything kind of moving in this space. and we'll get to the current prices in a moment. Um, Something else that I found interesting is a company, Chainalysis. They're actually a crypto forensics firm. They just bought out ABAX, which offers a lot of services to governments around the world. That's going to strengthen the services that Chainalysis already provides to government agencies around the world. And with that increase, that could actually wind up being huge. So when I look at that, I'm kind of going, huh. So more and more companies are looking at companies, countries, just everybody's looking at crypto and starting to think, well, let's start to, manage this and manage this well, as opposed to let's keep wagging our finger at it, because that's not going to work. And then, I had somebody ask me, how do you get started in cryptocurrencies? And I said to her, I said, well, do some research on cryptocurrencies and start to understand what that means. So, how about doing some research on fiat to begin with? And no, I'm not going to define it here. Go look it up. It'll really help you remember what that term is and what it means. And then maybe do some research on Forex, foreign exchanges, meaning what can I trade? How can I trade the dollar versus, let's say, the yen, the ruble, whatever, and see if I can make money there? There's a whole market in that space. Then also do research on cryptocurrencies themselves. Start with the top, I don't know, top 25 cryptocurrencies, by market cap. And as you start to look at those cryptocurrencies by market cap, start to take a dive into those projects, not just the coins, but start taking a dive into those projects and what those projects are meant to do and how they do them. Then as you take that deeper dive into those projects, start to understand, oh, so this is a layer 1, this is a layer 2, this is what it's meant to do, this is its utility or utilities. What I mean by that is how those cryptocurrencies, how those technologies can be used and leveraged beyond just coin, right? Once you start to get a handle on that, then go get yourself a simple wallet, whether it be at Coinbase or one of the other exchanges. When I started off with Coinbase. Actually, technically, I think I started with GateHub and then I moved on to Coinbase. It seemed to be a cheaper platform, and it was easier to understand. Then once I understood that, I started diving into other exchanges because I started playing that whole forex between cryptos game and realizing that I can buy the same crypto and flip it from this exchange to that exchange and get more value for my crypto, and then flip it back and get more. So there was just a game that I could play to start understanding how everything works. It also taught me how to trade crypto, right? So that's how I cut my teeth on GateHub and then Coinbase. And then I got Coinbase Pro and Binance before there were all the rules around Binance. Then I got a Binance.us and FTX and a few others, because each wallet does something differently. I even have an offline wallet. I also have mobile wallets. I also have browser-based wallets and browser add-in wallets. So, and the reason for that is because not all wallets have all of the same coins. Not all wallets and exchanges have the same security, the same anything. So it becomes a little bit different on what you want to do with each one of your wallets. I treat everything differently depending on the wallet that I have. So you can do research there. So things like Coinomi, to actually use as a mobile wallet. There's Trust Wallet. I also do use that. And no, I don't get paid by any one of these companies to talk about their products or services. These are things that I actually use. But with that, let's go take a look at the numbers today. And that ought to be fun. So first, let's take a look at the biggest winners and losers. First thing I want to do is I want to look at, well, where are my losers and where are they at? Great. So here are my losers. Biggest one is over here at 21%, 4%, and then a whole bunch of zeros before I get to 1. That's actually good news. But then I take a look at what are my biggest winners. And again, this is a snapshot. I take the top 25 winners and losers from the top 250 coins by market cap. And again, what I say is I get to look to see what's moving and what's not, and is there an opportunity for me to get in on something that could be interesting. And I know I'm not looking at stable coins at this moment, right? But I am looking for any coins that would maybe pique my interest, because every now and then you'll come up with something that can give you, a little bit of a win. And you look at, and you take a look at their quote, take a look at the numbers all the way across, and you kind of get a hint for what's going on the losing side. You take a look at what's going on the winning side. Are you holding any one of these? Did you buy one yesterday? And boom, today maybe you should sell it so you could get out and take your profit. Depends on what you're doing. Something that's been moving a lot lately has been near, and look at where they are, 16.63% up, which is huge. And near just dropped off the list. There they are. So they were up there, now they're down here. It's still at 16.3, but that means that somebody else bumped up here and is making more money than them. And look at them, they're in the top 25 coins. So those are things that I'm paying attention to. I'm not currently holding near, so I have no benefit here, but this is how I might be able to set up, a couple of notifications to let me know, hey, you're at a 28% mark, you're at a this mark, because whatever goes up is going to wind up coming down, right? So if I was trading, I could say, you know what? For example, I own some near. I had it from a couple of weeks ago, and now it's up, 16%. I'm going to take some money off the top and wait for the drop, and then wait for another time to get back in and buy on the dip. You could do things like that. That's why I keep this list, to kind of pay attention to things like that. Looking at the fear and greed index, I'm thinking, okay, so we got a long time over here to say, okay, we got a long time. We weren't living well in this area. And doesn't this look the same? Right here, doesn't that look the same? Kind of does. And we're at a 20%, the fear index is at 20, which is 20% out of 100. Makes you stop and think. Again, every time we go down for a bit, it can't stay there forever, and eventually we'll pop back up. But this one is beginning to look a lot like this one. And last time I checked, we were doing well when that happened. So am I expecting a pop? I am expecting a pop pretty soon. And could that be when I see all of the ads that come in with the Super Bowl, or some of these projects come in with more news? All of those are possible, and that is what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for those pops, because what I might do is wait for it. I mean, you can see the same way that you can see the groupings over here with the fear index, the same at the bottom, you can see it at the top. And you can see, okay, it's time to pull out, it's time to pull out. You got a little bit more over here, but it wasn't as green as over here, and you didn't make that much more money at that point. So you can figure out, when should I get out? When should I take some profit? And then again, wait for the dip and buy on the dip. You can put yourself on a regular schedule by DCAing, right? So if you DCA, dollar cost average, if you dollar cost average, you put yourself on a schedule, and you're kind of, buying in when you can buy in, how you can buy in, those kinds of things. But pay attention to the macro events and even micro events that can affect you. That's why I lead with, here's what's going on in the news and what could affect things a little bit later on. So right now, you didn't hear about that Coinbase news. You might be hearing about other Coinbase news that has happened with, where is it, Kurodos or something like that that they're involved with, along with Avalanche. It's another project. So you might hear about that before you hear about that Financial Times news. But keep in mind, Financial Times is a news provider that is mainstream. So sooner or later, I think that's going to bubble up, because that's not good news if that's true. And that's going to make a lot of people scratch their heads about Coinbase. So there's that. So anyway, that's where we are right now. Let's go take a look at our portfolio. So here we are with our portfolio, and we're seeing a little bit of green. We're seeing a little bit of green. Not tons, but a little. So I'm not upset about that. Saitama taking another bump up. BTC, a little bit of a bump up at, trading over 40. That's a big deal. We had been fighting at that resistance level of 40. The next big resistance level is at 42. So that's what I'm really waiting for, is, can we get there? Will we get there? Because once it crashes through that, I think some major things can happen after that. But yeah, it's not doing so bad. Let's take a look at, across the board, give us a little bit broader of a perspective on the things that we like, that I'm actually tracking. When you look at that, it's like, oh, so now look at these numbers. Bitcoin up almost 10%, Ethereum up over 12.5%. These are the things that I'm paying attention to. Solana, even though it's still having a bunch of congestion problems, is still up over 11%. So you're seeing a lot of the coins that we're interested in actually looking very much up, and doing very well. Yes, this is my little baby. I'm paying attention to UFO gaming because, I like that coin. I like what they're all about. Yes, I am paying attention to Gala as well because we like that. We like that project. They're doing a lot. I think they have a really strong gaming platform, which is going to be a big deal. UFO about trying to come out with their game, with their actual game, so that could be a big deal. If we want to take a broader look at, everything, just everything that's out there, you start to look at, oh, ADA. Thank you, Cardano, for doing what you're doing. Where are they at? Up 5%. But you have Ripple up over 5%. So you have some major movers. Avalanche up over 13%. So you have some major movers that are happening right now, and this is when we should be paying attention. We really should be paying attention here. If you bought on the dip, you might be seeing some serious upside, right? So our portfolio shows our portfolio based on when we bought it, right, on the aggregate, and then what the strike price is, and are we in the red or in the black. But pay attention to what's out there and really start digging into the news. Pick your news sources and start digging into the news and understand your space. Understand, what metaverse plays are there, or maybe you're into layer ones or layer twos. Maybe you're into into oracles like Chainlink. Pay attention to that space and pay attention to the news that's happening in that space, because you might see something in the news faster than other people and be able to act on it. And then when it catches up to everybody else, you'll already be there for whatever you thought was going to happen. But pay attention to these things. Anyway, it's Eddie J on crypto. Do me a favor, please smash the likes, hit the subscribe button, and definitely ring the bell so that you know when I'm dropping another video. Hope you're having a great day. Bye-bye.